G'day guys, welcome to another episode of HT Monaro build. And in this episode, I start the wiring. So what I've done is I've got the old harness out here, the ignition switch, the headlight switch, the old fuse blocks. This is the other part of the indicators that that plugs into, and various dash. This is all the one for inside the cab, various dash lights and whatever. That's the engine harness here. Another front end harness here. This one runs alongside the right hand side, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. They're the wiper motor wires just here. I'm glad I've gone through and marked everything, otherwise I just wouldn't have a clue. You know what I mean? So, like I've got here, front right indicators, front right headlights, ground for the headlights. So, this is the left headlight. So thankfully I've done that and I know where everything goes. What I probably intend to do with all this is I'm probably going to have to butcher these this harness to use these plugs. I'd say that's the go. I've never wired a car before, but I do understand basic principles of wiring in relation to current draw, distance, and how heavy those wires should be. So all that should be pretty easy. What I did is I bought packets of these things from J-Car. I see they're the new in thing. I'll see how they go. They solder in place as well as crimp. So crimp and solder in one. I'd say that'd be good for under the dash. And we'll see how we go. So I've got all my stuff ready. This is another harness for the ignition. For anything that's outside of the engine bay, outside of the cab, I'll use this glue, heat shrink with glue, and then all you do is you put this on and just hit it with your heat gun and it melts and glues, so it seals it up. So I do intend to solder all the connections and everything. I'm not just using these crimps. Like if you come with me over to, I have to go around the back of the car. If you come around with me to the painless harness, it actually has, for example, these are the headlight plugs, and it's just got crimps, and I won't crimp. I'll cut them off and I'll solder. Probably using those things there, crimp solders. I thought they might make life a bit easier. So therefore it's actually soldered in place as well as crimped. So with that, I'm going to need to start reading the instructions and seeing how we go. So wish me luck. Cheers guys. So for this wiring, got shit everywhere, got wires, plugs, relays. They're off that harness that I used when I did the battery. But look, the idea is just to work through it systematically. I've got crimpers, and I don't have wire cutters, but we've got terminal crimpers. We got, I mean, that is a wire stripper, but they're pretty shitty. Sometimes I just prefer to use a nice pair of sharp side cutters. And I got the book. So with that, I'm going to get a start on it. Little bit by little bit, I think. That'll be the trick. So I think on that note, I'm just about ready to get into it. Now, this was a wiring diagram, not that you can see much, that I drew up for the engine stand. So it had the oil pressure switch here, water temperature, the tacho, the fuel pump over here, distributor, the senders, water temperature and oil sender. This is the coil and the ignition. And then onto this one I have the water pump, thermo fans, starter motor, the tacho. I had the battery over here, starter button over here. I notice you can't see that, sorry about that. Starter button over here. On off switch for the main power. Turn the thermo fans on, turn the fuel pump on, and this one was some other thing. What would it be? Fuel pump, water pump. Yeah, turn the water pump on. All going through relays. So look, I drew up that myself and it worked. So I'm not saying I've got a clue, but I've got half a clue. Didn't blow anything up. So that's good. Now, besides just the standard wiring harness that we've got to do, I also have, some of you have been watching for a while, you'll know, I've also got this electric water pump and fan controller by Davies Craig. So that's a little LED or LCD screen that will mount on my on the dash somewhere. Well, not on the dash, but on my find spot for that. A little sender there. So I've got that to do. This thing here is called a tachometric relay. Now that tachometric relay, what it will do will pulse power to the fuel pump for 30 seconds once I put the ignition on. I think it's 30 seconds. Once I turn the, after 30 seconds it'll stop power and the fuel pump will no longer run unless it starts receiving a coil, power from the coil. So the idea of that is it'll initially give you power to prime your car and then it'll continue to allow you to run that fuel pump whilst the coil is running. So once you've started the car, what that means is if you have a crash and you your engine stops, then the fuel pump will stop pumping fuel. Got a neutral safety switch for the Tremec gearbox, and I've also got a speed sensor for the Tremec gearbox that needs to be wired in as well. Not sure how I'll go with that. Another thing I've got is 12 volt hair dryers, 2 speed. These will be converted to run the the demisters, should I say. So look, I've got pretty much everything together. I found a bundle of switches. These are the door jamb switches, one of which I notice is potentially broken. I should be able to fix that. The other one, this one. High beam headlight, I might just replace that, but I might not. They're easy enough to get to, so why would you, I suppose. These ones, don't know what that is, wouldn't have a clue. I reckon it's something to do with the possibly the windscreen washer. Push in maybe. This is another, not sure what that one is, wouldn't have a clue. And cigarette lighter, I think. Yep, cigarette lighter. So based on that, I think I will, oh, the other thing I grabbed is just got a heap of relays here. These plugs here, that is the plug for the water pump, and 2 more for the thermo fans as well. So we'll wire them in. So based on that, I think we're ready to actually just get a start on it and start just following the instructions. I reckon that's the only way to do it. Well, obviously we know that's the only way to do it, but I feel like it's a pretty big job, and I'm a little bit nervous about it. But when you break it down into sections and whatever, look, it doesn't look that hard, to be honest with you. So, you know, if you follow the instructions bit by bit, pretty sure I'll get it going. So most of it anyway. I might have to put it into a Sparky to, you know, do that speed sensor or something like that for the gearbox. I'm not really sure. But we'll cross that bridge when it comes. So let's get into it. And we've got the dash here as well. All the new gauges that needs to be wired in. Along with, I also have this one, those gauges there that need to be wired in. But guess what? The biggest problem I've got, which has stopped me in my tracks, I've got to admit defeat, and it's been a long time coming, is I can't fucking see. I can't see all these wires. They've got all the, say for example, if I take you down here, this here is every 10 centimetres with this painless wiring harness. It says tail light section, right, turn, brake. I can see that all right there because there's plenty of light, but when I'm inside that car, I can't see. So this is going to be an issue. Look, I'm 47. I've been talking about getting glasses for God knows how long. Time might have come for me to get glasses, reading glasses, because I can't fucking see anything. And that'll help me, just while it's a bit dark in that cabin, that'll help me read the wires. In the meantime, what I might do is just get those times 1.5 or whatever they are, times 10, I don't know what they are, those cheap ones. But I'll go and get my eyes tested, and that's going to help me get this job done. Bugger, got to admit, getting old. Righto, just getting into this wiring, so it's probably going to be hard to film. I guess I'll start at the new fuse panel that I made. I made it a while ago. Here it is here. So I don't know how much of this I'm going to use as far as like the main power relay and the headlight relay. I'm not sure if I need that or not. And some of these may not be used as well. So I probably went to a bit of an effort, more than I had to back when I built this. But in any case, what I did when I did build it is I bent this bit of sheet metal up, 2 mil or something like that, sheet metal that won't bend easily. And then in here, hopefully you'll be able to see, but welded a frame backing onto the back of the firewall there, with studs in there and up the top to screw this onto. So that mounts there, and then, excuse the camera, over here, that plug there is for the main power cable, and the one above it is for the distributor. What I plan on doing is mounting the coil just here, down the bottom corner there where those holes are, the coil there, and then the MSD ignition module in this glove box. Seems to be heaps of room for that there. So where am I at the moment? I've just been getting rid of some of these wires or clumping some of these wires that I don't think I'll need. For example, electric choke and temp sender. Now, I don't need a temp sender because, well, I have got one. As I've explained previously, I'm using that Craig Davies, or Davies-Craig water temperature controller, water pump and thermofan controller, control module. So it's got its own temp sender. So I've already run the wires, which I did before I put the guard on. One of these ones somewhere under there. I've already got them running under the guard. I'll take you to the front of the car, because what I also did, because I've upgraded these headlights, I didn't think the wiring was heavy enough to carry the load, and so here's the temp sender that goes straight on the bottom of the radiator here, down here, that'll clip on there. These heavy wires you see here are actually two positives for the thermofans, and I'll ground them somewhere down there. I'll find a ground for them. That's the plugs there. So I'll ground them somewhere. There's the water pump wire. That'll come in. What I need to do is I've got a hole under here, and that's for the, well, it's just here actually, and that's for the main earth cable, but I need just one more to have the engine bay wiring harness to be able to service like the water pump and the oil pressure sender and a few other things. This is for the going to the distributor. All those sorts of things will need to go through there. So there's a few wires there. In fact, I began clumping them. This one goes to, good thing about this kit is engine section tells you what number it is, 915 alternator output post. So that obviously goes straight to the alternator. But these ones need to go through the firewall. The other ones pop out from under the guard, pop out here. These ones are the I'm not sure what those green ones are, I can't remember. These ones are the headlight wires and indicator wires for the left side, and these are the headlight wires for the right side, high beam and low beam, and your indicators here, and park lights. So got that going on. And then another one I got rid of was this wire here. Doesn't look like it's needed. 901 and 902 AC compressor and cooling fan relay. As I say, because I've got that controller, I won't need that cooling fan relay. These ones here look like they all go under the dash to the dashboard. This is an extra one for the brake light switch, so that goes to the brake light switch. This one goes to the reverse switch, which I don't have. I don't have a reverse switch yet, so I need to get one. And there'll be 3 wires that go to the trammer. It'll be a neutral safety switch, a reverse switch, and the speedometer pickup, so for the electric speedo. So this plug here is for that Davis Cray controller. Just an earth battery, fan relay. So a little bit going on there, a couple of more wires. These yellow ones are for power windows, so I'll probably end up snipping them off and getting rid of them around here somewhere. No need to have them, they're just creating a mess in there. But yeah, that's an early look at where I'm at, and yeah, we'll start routing wires and stuff today, and getting things on the go. This one, these are the coil wires, so they'll stay under here, and tachometer, so they'll stay under the thing because we're going to have the coil under here. So yeah, and the ignition module. So look, now that I've got it sort of all bunched into areas, I can just follow this book. So I've just been basically just doing what it says to do, and then I've been making notes, you know, as I go. Reverse switch has not been rerouted yet. 102 is the neutral safety switch to be routed to the gearbox. You know, wiper motor, nothing more, so there's one wire for a wiper. Need to work that out. So yeah, just following through these instructions, making a few notes as I go, for all the controllers. So yeah, hopefully we continue following this book, and we should be pretty right. So I'll get into it. Obviously there's not a lot to film as you go, but I'll just do these projects, progress shots, and keep you in the loop of how I'm going. Cheers. Right, well, somewhere along the way, remembering that I took this car off the road about 8 years ago and had a bit of a loose plan at that time as to where the wires were going to run and all that sort of stuff. Somewhere along the way I might have missed, I don't know what I've done, but that cable there is the earth. That needs to go through a hole in the firewall, which I've already had built, and it's under this. I'll just show you again, just so you're very clear where it is. It is under this, you can't actually see it. Right, it's right there. So it pops out there, if you can see that, where my finger is. So under here you can't see it. Now, I've done that, and that's been the plan for the earth cable. But what about all the other wiring? So I know you guys cringe when I cut into a genuine HT GTS V8 Monaro, but it's my build and I'm doing what I want, as I've done all along. So I need to drill another hole, and that hole is going to go, I don't know if that's too close for you to see, but it's going to go alongside this. Now that there is actually a pipe for the brake booster, because I didn't want that in the engine bay. So the brake booster, there's a rubber hose here that goes to the brake booster, right, and that'll go to that. And then on the other side, that goes to the inlet manifold for the brake booster on the other side of the firewall. So there's room just in here to put another hole to run the engine bay cables. And the benefit of doing it there is that'll run up straight behind the motor. I'll have it appropriately wrapped, so won't have any issues. Put a rubber grommet there, have that appropriately wrapped, and all of the engine bay wires will then pop up behind the engine, which is exactly what I want, so you can't see them. So I'm going to go ahead and get the old drill out. Got some grommets here. I'm hoping, you know, probably need that one there in all reality, but maybe that's too big. Maybe I'll step it down to that size, who knows. But I'll start with the drill and end up with hopefully this stepper drill bit will do the job, and I'll get the appropriate size for whatever I'm going to need to run these particular cables, and just that ignition cable to the distributor, and there's probably a couple others that might need to be run through as well. So yeah, we'll get onto that, and another hole drilled in the HT. Sorry people. Right, I've just been going through and making sure I've got all the wires through the firewall that I need, and I have realised that I need an extra wire for another temperature switch. I didn't want to have any wiring down here, but I'm going to have to. The Davies Craig water pump and fan controller sender is down there. I had to change that because I had this one in. This one's just for the gauge. However, I'm going to run that gauge because I've got the gauge over here. Water temperature. So I need to make sure that I have the right sender for that, and also for the Davies Craig controller, which is the one in the bottom of the radiator. So now I need to make sure, now that I've got the right senders in the right locations, I need to make sure that I've got a wire for them, so that we can get a reading off that. So yeah, just going through doing that at the moment. So what I've got here is a little manifold. So the oil temperature plugs into the top, and then the oil pressure, which is this silver one, will screw into the side of that. And this little manifold goes in to that screw hole there, the back of the engine. So again, hardly be able to be seen, so that'll be good. So there's that temperature and oil pressure sender done, water temperature sender done, and at the bottom of the radiator is the other water temperature. You can't see it under that rubber flap. And the reason I've done that is because if you come around here, step over the dog, she's getting old. Now I need to run various cables for each of those. So that's for the, what's that one for? Oil pressure. And this one's for the oil temperature. So I'll get them routed as well. And that way we know we've got that hole that I drilled this morning is big enough to fit everything in. Righto, I think I've got all the engine bay wires that I need. This one is the starter, oil pressure, oil temperature, water temperature, neutral safety switch, reverse switch, and speed sensor. This one here is, can't really read that at the minute. Oh, some sort of sender. Probably won't end up using that, that's fine. The red and the blue and black one is the water pump. The red one goes to the alternator, and the white one is the, I think it's the exciter or something for the alternator maybe. But anyway, they're the ones I'm pretty sure I've got it just about right now. So what I might do is expand that hole size to fit this grommet, and then I'll feed these through and start threading them to where they need to go. Hopefully we'll be pretty right. That's the reverse switch, which will tag onto one of these ones. So yeah, all good. Sort of learning as, or not so much learning as I go, but I guess I am, because I've never done it before, but never wired a car before. But you know, keep saying it doesn't look too hard. I'm sure I'll get stumped with a few things here and there, and I anticipate having to go to an auto electrician to get a few things wired up that I haven't been able to work out. That's no issue. All good, thanks. Right, I got those first wires through. They're through the grommet down there. So just pulling all these through now. That bunch in there. Yeah, pull all that through. Righto, I'm sitting here at the car, and I've got all these cables through. These are for the headlights and the indicators. So I'm following the book, and the book said once I've run all the wires to begin at the front of the car. So I'm starting at the front left, like it said. I'm using these terminated or plugs, should I say, but they have those blue crimp connectors, which I'm not a big fan of. They always seem to come loose after a while. So I'm going to give these things a go. These blue solder crimp connectors. I believe once you push the wires in, crimp it and solder it, it's soldered. I can go to the trouble of putting heat shrink over that as well if I want to, but for this particular one it's going to be inside the guard in that hole just here, and that's just going to go there like that. So I don't think it needs to be sort of waterproof. It's not going to get direct water on it, so pretty comfortable with that one. Yeah, so this will be the first one of the first one of the day. So first termination of the wire, if you like. So moving in the right direction again. So they sort of heat shrink around it, so that might not be a bad thing as long as I've got that metal melted properly, which I'm not sure if I do, but I reckon they're pretty good actually. That seals around there, that's good. I'll probably experiment. I'll have that up to like 500 degrees. I'll probably experiment with the temperature, get the right temperature. You know, that's the first one. I'm sure once I do a few of them I'll know exactly how to attack it and get it done right. So yeah, sweet. I think they're pretty good actually. G'day dudes, update time for the HT Monaro. So I've started the wiring. This is the water pump wiring, it's the alternator wiring. Bit of a story with the alternator wiring. It has two wires going to it, one from the fuse box and one from the actually two from the fuse box. One's an exciter wire. It excites the alternator to get it to start making juice. So I'll start again. Had the wire out of the fuse box, the main power wire, and an exciter wire. They both go to the D terminal on the twin post alternator. It's a 120 amp universal Bosch alternator, so it's got two posts, got a B and a D post. Those two wires I just spoke of, one goes to the big red one goes to the main B post, and the white one goes to the D post. Now the idea of that white one is it goes to your charge light, and it'll illuminate if you're not charging. I don't have a charge light. I've got this Procomp gauges, so I've done away with the charge light, and what that means is now listen, I've got to say straight up, obviously I'm not an auto electrician, so if I'm wrong I apologise, but at this stage this is my knowledge, so take it with a grain of salt. But because that doesn't have a charge light, I can put a diode in there, 3 watt diode or 2 watt diode or whatever, 12 volt diode, which I'm going to go and buy from JCar, and that will then make sure the juice only flows one way, and that's to the alternator, and it'll enable that wire to charge. Now, I haven't explained that very well because I don't really know what I'm talking about. And I'm going to be honest with that. This is some information that I've read and sought. So whilst I got it in my head at the time, I'm not going to try and explain it to you because I don't want to look like a dick if I've got it wrong. And I may have got it wrong. So obviously the car's not starting yet, so we don't know if it's charging. So yeah, I'm not going to go off sounding like I know what I'm talking about when I've got to test it first. So it's just my story and the journey of the build of the car. So take it what it is, dudes. And then from that B post, there's also another wire that goes to the main starter motor, or to the battery. And we can put it to the starter motor because obviously the battery runs direct to the starter motor. So I've done that. That's these ones. They run up here. I've put in this is the Davies Craig temp sender. Furthermore, the headlights are all done. And the other side, nice and neat. I've put in the attachment for the hydraulic clutch to the slave cylinder on the pedal box. That's done. This wire down here where it says painless, it's a MIDI fuse. That's the MIDI fuse for that one coming off the alternator going to the starter motor. 70 amp fuse in that. That's done. The it might be hard to see, actually it probably won't be. This hose here goes from the, that's the vacuum hose from the back of the carburetor. That goes into the cab, and there it is there actually. And that's going to go onto this one here. Right, that's the vacuum hose for the brakes, the brake booster. So this side of it actually goes to the brake booster, hidden under the guard. So that's just about done. These are all the temp sender gauges and all, and that sort of stuff. The temp sender wires. I pulled the carpet out. I'm going to run. This is the coil wire. I'm going to run that along here. I won't go into that too much because what I'll do is I'll run through that again. But that's done. Well, not done, but it's sitting there ready to be done. I basically just finished the engine bay. I've got another job to do. While I was under the motor looking at the gearbox, because we've got a neutral safety switch, a reverse backup switch for the backup light, and a speedometer pickup. So I had to wire them in, and that's done. However, it's the one of the senders. I'm just waiting on a Deutsch plug from a mate, so I can put the plug there, but the wires are there. And I noticed that he had a mechanical, the previous owner of that gearbox, a TKO 600 Tremec, 5-speed manual, had a bloody manual speedometer pickup. So I need to put this plug in that spot, and I'll show you where that goes in a minute. I'll get under the car, show you what I've been doing over there. Just while I'm at it, while I've got this here, see this tray here? I've got another tray. I'll tell you what, if you're going to build a car, I'm just going to sit in. If you're going to build a car, I can't recommend highly enough getting a huge amount of nuts and bolts together. What I did, there was a guy, I reckon I can't remember, it was a Kingswood of some description, KTG. And I went there and I just took all these nuts and bolts, like a big, massive big jar of them. What I did with that is I sent them all off to get plated. And it's been absolutely invaluable to have spare nuts and bolts and of different sizes, lengths, widths, bloody threads and all that sort of stuff, washers, nuts, everything. So that has been invaluable to me, and I highly recommend you do the same if you're going to build a car. So this engine bay is just about done. All I need to do is the speedo. I've got to probably reroute that and make that better. Handbrake. And some, I've just got to put a plug in here and in the top in there, and then once that's done, we're all good. And I'm quite happy with how neat it is. Now see how this is a little bit rusty and whatever. This motor's been around for I had it built brand new by Horsepower Engineering over in Brisbane, but and I've started it multiple times, but it is about 6 years old, I reckon, probably something like that. So it is getting a few bits of corrosion, and once this car's up and running, I'll then detail the engine bay and either paint them or replace them or whatever. That there's bare metal, I'll paint that. You know, just go over it and tidy it all up, make sure it's no rust on anything. Now I'll try and get under the car here, so just bear with me. And I'll show you what I've been doing with the gearbox. So let's get under there and have a look. I need to get over that side. Right, the gearbox. What do we got here? Hopefully I'm not moving around too much where you can't make out what's going on. This cable here, that's not a cable, that's a hose, it's a hydraulic hose. I think that goes into the bell housing for the clutch actuator, the throwout. These wires here, that's the earth strap going straight from the battery to the side of the block, and that one there is all the coil wire going to the distributor. Now we've got this one under here, this cable. I'm not sure how well you can see all this, which turns out to be, I'll see if I can just hold that there or something. Hopefully you can see that one. Now this one here is the far out, what is it, That's the, what do we have, neutral safety switch. That's not that one. The backup switch and the speedometer. So it's not the speedometer, I think it's the neutral safety switch, that plug there. So that's done, wired in. Come around this side. It's very hard under here, there's not much room. This is the wire that's going to go to that there. I just need a Deutsch plug for that. That'll be cool. And that is, I think that's the backup one. And this one going over the top of the gearbox there. Coming out over here, hopefully you can see that, is the speedometer pickup. So that's all done. Sorry, this is very hard on here, there's not a lot of room. I haven't got a hoist. There's the wiring for the starter motor. I'll probably get some heat wrap and wrap that around there because that comes very close to those headers. So I'll wrap that in heat wrap. But other than that, I'm happy with that. And you can see the MIDI fuse there. So I'll get out from under the car. But yeah, look, we are going pretty good, and I'm very pleased with the progress I've been able to make. Now I've just got to get it all the inside done and hooked up. So I think just give me a moment, I'll get out. So I think my plan will be to get the thermofans wired in, this coil wire, because the coil is going to go in here. So I'll run this coil wire, get the coil wire, and that's the coil wire there actually, and the ignition module wiring going through. That's the coil wire there. And then I've just got to make heads or tails. Like these ones are the thermofans, the power for the thermofans, nice big thick ones. They'll carry the 30 amp current, 2 of them, 1 for each one. And we know the thermofans, I don't think I showed you that, but the thermofans are earthed under here. So have a quick look here. There's the thermofans. Some plugs. I'll probably get rid of these, because you can see those what do you call it, zip ties. I'll get rid of them, and that's how I've earthed that. So I've got the Dremel, clean the metal behind it, put a one of those star washers or whatever the bloody hell they're called, put that under there, and that's where the thermofan's earthed. So that's earthed straight to the chassis. So we are kicking some goals. But oh, you may have noticed also that the glass is in. So I'm not sure how much of that I've shown you, but yes, the glass is in. I've polished these, filed, polished, you know, spent all the time on those ones. That's done. Quarter glass is in, windows wind up and down. Not quite happy with the adjustment yet. Got a mate come round, see if he might be able to help me. We might be able to nut it out. They wind down okay, but a little bit stiff winding up, but I think the glass actually needs to go that way, and it's on both of them. They're a little bit stiff. So I think what I'll do is get these thermofans wired in. So this here will go to the power terminal that I've got there, and that's the main battery. That goes straight to the battery. Comes in through a maxi fuse into a main power relay, and that power relay will click in when I get ignition. So that's sorted. Yeah, one of the difficulties I've got, and I'm not sure how to work out, is I've got a headlight relay because the headlight's been upgraded, so I don't want to run it through the headlight switch. So I need to work out how to do that. Don't really know how to do that. I'll work it out. The main power relay comes out of the main power relay and powers onto that terminal, and then from there I probably need to tidy this up a bit, but I've got the fan relay, the fuel pump relay. Although the fuel pump came with a relay, a kit, and that relay will be at the back, so I won't need that. However, I need the fan relays, and I need a no, it's not the backup switch, it's the neutral safety switch. Should go through a relay, apparently. So I'll run the neutral safety switch through a relay. So I'll change that fuel pump relay and make that a neutral safety switch relay. And look, yeah, you know, here's the 12 volt fan activation. So I'll work on that, and yeah, just start tidying this wiring up, you know what I mean? There's a bit of shit lying around. I want to sort of get it tidied up, get that mounted back under there, get the carpet back in, and then I can sort of, you know, work out what the hell is going on, and looking much better. So yeah, there's an update for you. A lot of work to do still, but it was nice having that engine bay done, and every time I did something, you know, when you sort of get it done and then you move on to the next one, well, yeah, I thought I'll do it properly and then I don't have to come back to it. So I've been doing that, you know, as I go, so I'm pretty happy with that. So dudes, thanks very much. I might break this episode into 2 halves. So that'll be the end of this episode. As far as the wiring goes, I'll break that into 2 halves. That'll be the end of this episode. I'll do the inside of the wiring, maybe take you for the journey a little bit, as I have done with the engine bay wiring, and the back as well. The back's going to be piece of piss. The back's just a fuel pump, and the you know, the lights and all that sort of stuff. So the back's real easy. So yeah, mate. Once the bloody wiring's done, then I can go through the process of testing it all. And then, you know, when I'm happy with it, then I can start putting the interior in. So I've got all brand new interior for this car. Once the interior is in, you know, I've just got to do the handbrake, and then it's just about drivable and safe to be able to give to, when I say drivable, I won't have the clutch in. And I think I've told you before, but I'm not doing the clutch because it's that retrofitted kit and it's a pain in the ass, and I don't want to have anything to do with it. I don't know what I'm doing. You've got to shim the throw out pusher and all that sort of shit, and I don't really know what I'm doing there, and I'm not going to tackle it. So it's going to go to an auto shop, and they're going to tune it, tune the car, tune the distributor, because the car needs to be retuned with that exhaust, make sure it's not getting too much fuel, and then and they'll install that clutch and make sure all that's part of it done, and they'll drive it for the very first time. So hopefully I'll be there for that. It may not be, but either way, whatever. Going to keep going, guys. Thanks for watching this episode. I hope you got some value out of it. Hope you enjoyed it. Hit the like and subscribe buttons for us, and peace out. Cheers.